Try to imagine a very ordinary morning. You wake up, but you don't eat breakfast. No sweet coffee, no rushing to put something into your body out of habit, just a glass of water, a light emptiness in your stomach, and a feeling that's hard to name. Not exactly hunger, not exactly discomfort, more like your body is waiting. In that moment, most of us have been taught to worry. Because from an early age, we were taught that hunger is dangerous, that skipping a meal is harmful to the body, that fasting equals depletion. But there is a question very few people ever stop to ask: what is actually happening inside your body when you don't eat? And if you think this story is about weight or the stomach, you're not looking deeply enough. This story begins in a much quieter place. The kidneys. The kidneys don't cause pain early. They don't send out clear emergency signals. They work silently, every day, filtering hundreds of liters of blood, balancing water, salt, electrolytes, blood pressure, processing waste, and participating in the chemical environment every cell in your body needs to survive. And they do all of this continuously, without rest. In modern life, that burden keeps increasing. Constant eating, sugar, salt, processed protein, coffee, soft drinks, medications, chronic stress. Every meal is not just energy, it is a new task for the filtration system. And when eating never stops, the kidneys have almost no time to do anything other than process incoming load. This is the forgotten role of the kidneys. They don't just need energy to filter, they need time to repair. Kidney cells also wear down, accumulate metabolic waste, and sustain microdamage. But in a nonstop eating rhythm, the kidneys are rarely allowed to shift into maintenance mode, and the cost of that doesn't appear immediately. It arrives slowly, quietly, in the form of chronic inflammation, fibrosis, and gradual functional decline that you may not feel for years. And then, when you temporarily stop eating even for just a few hours, something very different begins to happen. Not loudly, not dramatically, but fundamentally, insulin begins to drop. Not because of deficiency, but because there is no longer a reason to keep it elevated. And for the kidneys, this is a rare signal that incoming pressure has eased. 1. Phase 0-12 hours. When the kidneys begin to rest, in the first hours after the last meal, the body continues to operate on inertia. The kidneys are still processing what remains. But when no new food is coming in, the workload gradually slows, not stopping, but becoming more regulated. Like a highway after rush hour, when traffic thins and space begins to open up. It is within this space that the kidneys' internal priorities begin to shift. Some of the energy that was previously drained by constant input processing is now redirected to long-postponed tasks, clearing damaged proteins, handling aging cells, reorganizing microvascular structures that have been under continuous strain. This is not passive rest, but a switch to a different mode of work, quieter, yet more foundational. Many people perceive this phase through vague sensations: a mild headache, a sense of emptiness, an unfamiliar feeling from not eating at the usual time. But these sensations are often not signs of weakness. They are the result of shifts in fluid and electrolyte balance. As insulin drops, the kidneys begin to excrete excess water and sodium that have quietly accumulated over years of constant eating. The body is rebalancing, not breaking down. 2. Phase 12-24 hours. Reduction in inflammation and oxidative stress. When the body remains in a fasted state long enough, a deeper factor begins to change: low-grade chronic inflammation. This is something that rarely causes obvious pain, yet forms the groundwork for most long-term kidney problems. Sustained low insulin sends a different message. Storage is no longer the priority, it is time for repair. Between 12 and 24 hours, inflammatory signals begin to subside. Oxidative stress, something like biological rust, also gradually decreases as the body is no longer pressured to process energy continuously. For the kidneys, this matters greatly. The internal environment becomes less harsh. Nephrons no longer have to function in a constant state of simultaneous filtration and inflammation control. Many people start to notice subtle changes: less bloating, less heaviness, a greater sense of lightness. Not because fat has disappeared, but because inflammation and retained water are being released. This is a phase when adequate hydration becomes especially important, not to suppress hunger, but to support the rebalancing process the kidneys are carrying out. 3. Phase 24-48 hours. Activation of autophagy. Once the body crosses the 24-hour mark, it is no longer waiting for the next meal. And when that waiting disappears, a deeper biological program is activated: autophagy. This is not destruction, but quality control. For years, kidney cells may have been functioning in an environment of constant excess. Damaged cellular components were never fully cleared. They accumulated, and over time, they reduced filtration efficiency. When autophagy turns on, cells begin to dismantle and recycle what is no longer optimal. Nothing is wasted. For the kidneys, this is a kind of microscopic deep cleaning. As cellular debris decreases, the risk of fibrosis decreases as well. Not reversing all damage, but preventing it from continuing to escalate. This process unfolds silently, without dramatic sensations, yet it lays the groundwork for long-term resilience. 4. Phase 48-72 hours. Ketones become a healing fuel. As glycogen stores are depleted, fat becomes the primary energy source, and the liver begins producing ketones. Ketones are not an extreme state. They are part of an ancient biological system. They provide more stable energy and generate less oxidative stress than glucose. For the kidneys, ketones are not only fuel, but also a signal. They inform cells that the current environment prioritizes preservation and repair. Inflammation is calmed. Long-term structural protection mechanisms are activated. Many people describe this phase as a sense of steadiness and greater mental clarity, without the erratic energy highs and crashes seen before. 5. Days 3-5. Activation of regenerative genes. When the body maintains this state long enough, something rare in modern life begins to occur. At the genetic level, certain programs related to repair and regeneration are switched back on, not explosively or dramatically, but selectively and cautiously. For the kidneys, this is particularly significant. Cells that have endured prolonged filtration stress begin to show signs of microfunctional recovery. Not total regeneration, but an improvement in the quality of what remains. This reveals that the adult human body is not as fixed as we once believed. When the environment is sufficiently supportive, deep repair capacity can be reawakened. Fasting is not for everyone. People with advanced kidney disease, those taking medications that affect blood pressure or blood sugar, pregnant women, individuals with eating disorders, or those with specific medical conditions must proceed with caution and under medical supervision. Fasting is a powerful biological tool, not a challenge to be taken lightly. The core message here is not how long you should fast, but how you relate to your body. In a world of constant eating and stimulation, sometimes what the body needs most is not more input, but less. Not more pushing, but more space. And it is within that space that quiet organs like the kidneys finally have the opportunity to do what they were designed to do: repair, rebalance, and sustain life with endurance. Not loudly, not dramatically, but profoundly. Perhaps that is the true definition of healing.